Scene 33, the First Council. A civilization reveals its future not when it wins a battle, but when it decides what is worth protecting together. Frontier Archives, Council Records. By midday, the Ashari village had become quieter once again. The sounds of rebuilding continued throughout the valley. Crystal dwellings slowly regained their familiar shapes. Children carried polished crystal fragments from one family to another. No one worked alone. Every home belonged to everyone. At the center of the settlement, the oldest crystal circle upon Kheros stood waiting. Long before the Dominion had arrived, long before the living mountain had awakened, the Ashari had gathered here whenever a decision belonged to the entire people. No throne stood within the circle. No seat of authority overlooked the others. Only 12 smooth crystal stones formed a ring beneath the open sky. Every elder sat as an equal. The mountain itself occupied the center. Today, one place remained empty, not reserved, invited.
Bring him.
Several younger Ashari looked toward Zandor. He hesitated.
This is your council.
Karam smiled gently.
Today, our future belongs to all who protect it.
Slowly, Zandor entered the crystal circle. No elder bowed. No ceremony welcomed him. One by one, the Ashari simply made room. The gesture reminded him of the Hall of Guardians. The builders had never placed anyone above another. Neither had the Ashari. Luma quietly sat beside Elder Karam. The singing crystal rested motionless within the center of the circle. Its light remained calm, almost curious. For several long moments, no one spoke. The council began as every Ashari council always had, by listening.
The mountain has awakened.
He allowed the words to settle before continuing.
The Guardian has returned. The Dominion still surrounds us. What do we do now?
No one answered immediately. The question belonged to everyone, not merely the eldest, not merely the Guardian. One elderly woman slowly raised her hand.
We rebuild.
Another elder nodded.
We remember.
A younger Ashari looked toward the distant Dominion patrols.
And when they return?
Silence followed once more. Every face eventually turned toward Zandor, not demanding an answer, inviting one. He remained quiet for several moments. The promise beneath the mountain echoed gently within his thoughts.
We protect life first.
No one interrupted.
We protect truth, and we never become what we fear.
The singing crystal answered with one soft, harmonic note. Several elders exchanged thoughtful glances. None had entered the mountain, yet every one of them recognized the truth carried within those words.
The builders taught you well.
Zandor slowly shook his head.
They reminded me of what we already knew.
The council fell silent once again. For the first time, the Ashari no longer saw Zandor only as an outsider, nor only as a guardian. They saw him as someone willing to carry the same responsibility they had quietly carried for generations. The crystal circle remained silent. No one hurried to speak. Among the Ashari, silence was never emptiness. It was respect. Every voice deserved room to become its own. The singing crystal resting at the center of the council emitted a soft pulse. Not bright, not urgent, almost thoughtful. Its gentle light reflected across each elder sitting within the circle. No one appeared more important than another. Even the crystal itself remained in the center, belonging to everyone.
We have hidden for generations and survived, but hiding has never brought peace.
The words settled over the gathering, not spoken with anger, only with the weight of long memory. The elder looked toward the western mountains.
Our ancestors believed one day the living mountain would choose its guardian. That day has come.
He turned toward Zandor.
The question before us is no longer whether the builders have awakened. The question is what kind of people we become because they have.
No one answered immediately. Even the children listening beyond the council circle remained unusually quiet. Kyle slowly stepped forward. The crystal fragment he had carried earlier still rested in his hands.
I want to ask something.
You may.
Kyle looked toward Zandor.
If the builders were stronger than everyone, why didn't they win?
The question surprised every elder, not because it lacked wisdom, because it possessed it. Zandor remained silent for several moments. The Hall of Guardians, the hidden observatory, the silent warning, the promise. Every lesson returned quietly to his thoughts.
They believed winning meant protecting life. They never believed winning meant destroying everyone else.
Kyle frowned thoughtfully.
So they lost?
Zandor slowly shook his head.
They gave someone else the chance to continue.
No one spoke. The answer reached every elder differently, yet every one of them understood. The singing crystal answered with another gentle harmonic note, not confirming, remembering.
Perhaps that was victory.
Several elders lowered their heads, not in sorrow, in understanding. Far above the council, the wind carried soft music through the crystal trees, not produced by instruments. The valley itself had begun singing once again. Beyond the peaceful village, Dominion patrol craft continued crossing the distant horizon. The danger remained real. The occupation remained unchanged. Yet within the crystal circle, another truth quietly emerged. The builders had not entrusted the future to the strongest civilization. They had entrusted it to the one still willing to ask why strength existed at all. For the first time since returning from the mountain, Zandor no longer felt like the guardian of the builders. He felt responsible for the people sitting quietly around him. The council remained silent, not because every question had been answered, because the most important questions rarely were. The Ashari had never feared uncertainty. They feared forgetting who they were while facing it. The singing crystal drifted gently upward from the center of the circle. It rotated slowly, its turquoise light reflected across every elder, every child, every face gathered beneath the open sky. No one reached toward it. No one claimed it. Some things belonged only when they belonged to everyone. Zandor watched the crystal in silence. Only a few days earlier, he would have seen nothing more than an unusual artifact. Now he understood it differently. The singing crystal had never been a tool. It had always been a conversation.
It remembers every voice.
Luma looked toward him. A gentle smile crossed her face.
And it waits until someone listens.
The words carried him back to the hidden observatory, to the Hall of Guardians, to the promise. Again and again, the builders had taught the same lesson through different paths. Listening always came before leading. One of the younger Ashari carefully placed a newly shaped crystal block beside the council circle. Another quietly adjusted it until it aligned perfectly with the others. No one instructed them. No elder corrected them. They simply worked together. Zandor noticed something he had overlooked before. The Ashari rarely gave orders. They shared understanding. The elder slowly stood. He looked around the crystal circle before speaking.
Our children are watching us. They will remember this council long after we are gone.
His gaze settled upon Kale, then upon Luma, then upon every family gathered around the circle.
We must decide what memory we leave them.
No one spoke. The question belonged to every generation equally. Zandor finally stepped toward the center of the circle, not as a commander, not as a guardian, simply as another voice.
I cannot promise victory. I cannot promise safety. I cannot promise the Dominion will leave.
The words settled heavily over the gathering. No false hope, no impossible assurances, only truth.
But I can promise this. We will decide who we become, not them.
The valley remained perfectly still. Even the wind seemed to pause. The singing crystal answered with the clearest harmonic tone yet. Not louder than before, clearer. The sound traveled across the village, into the surrounding forests, toward the western mountains, almost as though Kheros itself had accepted the words. Far above, General Vorak watched the valley through Dominion sensors. The instruments detected another brief harmonic resonance. Again, no energy surge, no weapon, only a pattern.
General, the resonance originated from the Ashari settlement.
Impossible.
Vorak remained silent. His concealed face reflected only the blue light of the planetary display.
No, it is inevitable.
No officer understood the distinction. Vorak did. Some victories began long before the first battle. Back within the crystal circle, the council quietly came to its conclusion. No vote had been taken, no decree proclaimed. Yet every elder rose together. Every family returned to rebuilding. Every child carried another crystal block. The decision had already been made. The Ashari would not abandon Kheros. Not because they believed they could defeat the Dominion, because some homes were worth protecting even when victory could not be guaranteed. The crystal circle slowly emptied, not because the council had ended, because every decision now belonged to action. The Ashari had never measured wisdom by the length of a discussion, only by what followed it. Families returned to rebuilding the village. Children carried polished crystal blocks through narrow pathways. Elders repaired ancient homes with steady hands. No one hurried, no one complained. The work itself had become their answer. Zandor remained standing within the council circle. The 12 crystal seats surrounding him were empty once more. Morning sunlight reflected softly across their polished surfaces. For a moment he was reminded of another circle, the 12 pillars beneath the mountain. One oath above, one promise below. Different places, the same purpose. The guardian symbol beneath his armor pulsed gently, not with instruction, recognition. The builders had preserved their promise. The Ashari had preserved their way of life. Neither could survive without ordinary people willing to protect both. Luma approached quietly. The singing crystal floated peacefully beside her shoulder. Its melody had become almost impossible to hear, not because it had weakened, because it no longer needed to search. The guardian had returned.
They trust you.
Zandor looked across the village. An elderly Ashari carefully teaching a child to repair a fractured crystal lantern. Families preparing food together. Young builders raising a damaged roof. No one watched him. No one waited for orders.
They trust each other.
Luma smiled.
That's why the mountain chose us.
For the first time, Zandor understood what she truly meant. The builders had never chosen Kheros because it contained the greatest technology or the strongest defenses. They had chosen a people who understood community before power. General Vorak remained alone before the planetary display. The harmonic resonance surrounding Kheros no longer expanded. It no longer contracted. It had settled into perfect stability.
General, all harmonic activity is stabilized.
So the anomaly is complete.
Vorak remained silent. His concealed face reflected softly within the blue glow of the tactical display.
No, it has become.
He paused.
I'm part of the world.
The bridge officers exchanged uncertain glances. No Dominion doctrine prepared them for an enemy that did not attack, nor for a victory that could not be measured by territory. The morning passed peacefully. Crystal forests shimmered beneath the clear sky. Skyglide mantas drifted silently above the valley. The Ashari rebuilt. The Dominion observed. The Guardian listened. Far beneath them, the Builder world rested in complete silence. The Hall of Guardians, the hidden observatory, the chamber of the first promise, the silent warning, the oath chamber. Every road had returned to patient stillness, waiting, not for another builder, for another choice. The Frontier Archives would later record that the First Council marked the moment when the war for Kheros changed forever. Until that day, both sides had fought over a planet. After that day, they fought over an idea. One believed the future belonged to those strong enough to seize it. The other believed the future belonged to those wise enough to protect it. History would decide which vision endured. But beneath the quiet skies of Kheros, the first decision had already been made. End of Part 2. Continues in Part 3.